So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to join our webinar series, TESTIALUSTAT TUTUIKSI. And today's topic is Health Technology Testbeds. I'm Anne Valtakari from Business Tampere, and I'm acting as a technical moderator in this webinar. A few practical instructions at this point. This event is recorded, and the recording will be available at the Business Tampere YouTube channel tomorrow. And you can ask questions throughout the whole webinar via the Brella chat. Nora Vaaraniemi from Business Tampere will raise questions from the chat at the end of the event. And the chat function can be found in Brella on the Stream tab. And so much for the general instructions, and now we can start. Opening words of this webinar will be presented by Van Lee from Business Tampere. So, Van, please. Floor is yours.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Van Lee. I am a business advisor at Tampere Health, an ecosystem coordinated by Business Tampere. And it's my honor today to open our webinar series focusing on health technology test beds. And today with us, we have our representative from 3 test beds. And unfortunately, one of them, Dario Greco from Tampere University, is not able to make it today for very good reasons. So I will present the organization shortly on his behalf. And together with us today, there's Tarja Heinonen from Tampere University of Applied Sciences. She will talk about TAMK Virtual Lab for Social and Healthcare. And we have Enni Makkonen from Finnish Clinical Biobank. We have Milla Juuttinen from Tampere University Heat Lab. And please continue with the next slide. Yes, and on top of this video, please remember to check our Brella platform, where you can also meet and network with other people. And we are happy to connect with you on that platform, or you can send a message to me after the presentation today. There would be my contact information and my team. So please feel free to reach out if you have any questions for us. And starting of the day, I would like to present very quickly our Tampere Health ecosystem and our testbed activities. So my role has been coordinating the activities of business development and service development for our testbeds in these regions. We have so far these testbeds that you are seeing on the screen, and the other ones as well. These are the ones that are ready to welcome companies as clients, meaning they have ready-made service packages for companies and of course researchers from different locations. And today we have 4 out of these 9 testbeds together with us. And our testbeds are just one of those elements of our Tampere Health ecosystem. We also have companies in our ecosystem where together with them, Business Tampere provides partnership, access to contacts and care environments, markets opportunities, relocation services, and of course visiting program if you are a newcomer of our ecosystem. So we are happy to connect you with the relevant stakeholders in Tampere regions from these testbeds and from our local companies, whom you can check out on our tamperehealth.com website. And on top of this slide, there's also a link to the list of testbeds in our Tampere regions. These are not all of the testbed in our industry, and we are talking about health only. So please continue. And as I mentioned earlier, Tampere Health is going to support you with your access to like networking or finding partners and any possible support that you might need when you come to Tampere regions. And our services are free of charge. And also, if you want to have a look at a bigger picture of our services and how to find them and how these connections, how these organizations are connected to each other, please go on our website, tamperehealth.com, and have a look at a public health ecosystem map where you can have a look at all of these research stakeholders as well as service providers in Tampere for startups. And if you are not a startup anymore, you would like to look for tailored packages, please drop me a message. Next slide, please. So at Tampere Health, currently we are 2 people. Veli-Matti Lahti is my colleague. He's a senior advisor, and myself is business advisor of this team. And also, we also have colleagues from Tampere University Hospital. Marko Rov and Nikolon, you are welcome to contact any of us if you have any concern or you need some support. And that's it for my part today. I will continue this presentation by saying a couple of words on behalf of Dario about FAIF. So FAIF is one of our really respectful laboratory testing environments. FAIF is a research institute devoted to development and the validation of integrated approaches, also known as IATA. In FAIF, IATA are developed by integrating advanced in vitro models with toxicogenomics and AI-enabled advanced data modeling. FAIF is a part of the Faculty of Medicine and Health Technology at Tampere University, and they also have received significant competitive research grants from the EU and the Academy of Finland, among the others. FAIF is the Finnish Center for 3R EU Directive 2010/63, which promotes the replacement, reduction, refinement of animal testing through its own research and validation work, through training and information sharing. And FAIF activities are in line with the Sustainable Development Goal of Finland and the EU to move towards a green and digital technology, digital society. So if you are interested in meeting FAIF, please feel free to contact me or write an email to Dario, and his email can be found on this website as well. And one very good news is we have been hearing the really good news from Finland that Finnish researchers have identified COVID infection preventing drugs. So these researchers are coming from Dario's group, and I'm really proud to present that our Tampere Health Testbed had done such amazing achievement. And that is not everything we have. We also have other amazing testbeds presenting today. And it is my pleasure to be here today presenting to you. And next on the line will be Tarja Heinonen. Welcome.
Thank you, Van, and hello, everyone. It's so nice to be here today. First, I would like to thank you for this opportunity to introduce TUMC's virtual lab for social and healthcare, which is one testbed in this Tampere Health ecosystem. So the idea for our lab was driven to challenges that health sector is facing today in Finland. So the dependency ration is dramatic, and how we make the number of care staff meet the growing needs of the aging society in the future. We are also in middle of social and healthcare reform to integrate social and healthcare services into an integrated entity. And geographically long distances and COVID-19 have created the global need for remote and digital healthcare solutions. Next, please. And that is why we need this kind of co-creation. We need co-creation to understand the market and customers' needs better. And next. Our virtual lab is an innovative co-creation platform for technology companies, service providers, and end users themselves. We are focusing in our unique testbed, especially remote and virtual care, remote rehabilitation, and digital healthcare services. Our lab was established August 2020, TUTUIKSI main campus in Kuntokatu 3, and it has been funded TUTUIKSI's own investment money. So this is something strategic we want to do. But it's not only the lab, it's a new way to connect the university campus and living labs in health and well-being. We have very tight connection with, for example, elderly nursing homes, healthcare centers, and it's our job to open the doors to health tech companies to test and piloting the solutions in real life settings and with real end users. And next, please. The value we offer to well-being and health tech companies vary from pre-testing and product development activities in living labs to pop-up spaces and so much more. So here you can see our services for the companies. Next, we have proven track record with health tech companies in Finland, one of which is Video Visit. Throughout our collaboration with Video Visit, our virtual lab enabled testing and use cases. It provided valuable feedback and increased understanding of customers' needs within home rehabilitation services. That is one example of what we can do with you. And the next slide, please. So now it's your turn to join the front runners of the health tech business and disrupt tomorrow's well-being and health. We can continue the discussion via Brella, and here you can find also my contact information. It is possible to also organize Teams meeting afterwards and discuss about the collaboration possibilities. So I'm so happy to hear your needs, your company's needs for collaboration. So thank you for your attention, and we will, I hope we can continue the discussion via Brella. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tarja. This was really good. So next we hear Enni Makkonen from Pirkanmaa Hospital District, and she will tell us about the Finnish Clinical Biobank Tampere. So Enni, please.
Hello and good afternoon all. My name is Enni Makkonen and I'm here to tell you more about Finnish Clinical Biobank Tampere. In short, our job is to make your research ideas possible. And here you can see the main possibilities we can offer in order to help you with your research needs. The most basic thing people might know about Biobank is that we have a large collection of biological samples. But what are the samples? So we have a collection of blood samples, currently about 44,000 individuals who have given a biobank consent have also given the blood samples. And then we collect also fresh frozen cancer tissues and ctDNA samples. And ctDNA is a circulating tumor DNA sample. And these samples we collect from certain cancer patients. And what's quite remarkable, we also have a collection of about 3.4 million old diagnostical tissue samples that have been transferred to the biobank from the hospital's archives. And as you can imagine, these samples would be worth basically nothing without the data related to them. And we can combine the samples with electronic health record data, most commonly the data that is located in the hospital registers, and also with the data returned back from the previous biobank research project. And an excellent example of this kind of data is genome data, which have been returned back from a huge national project called FinGen, and we have already more than genome data more than 10,000 individuals, and the number is growing all the time. And another interesting and quite new possibility Biobank can offer is recall studies, which means that we have a possibility to recontact individuals who have agreed to be recontacted when they're giving their Biobank consent, and ask them to participate in new studies. So basically, we can also offer you patients for your research needs. But on the next slide, I have more information about recall studies. So these recall studies can be, for example, filling out questionnaires, taking tests, or giving you samples. Basically, anything where you need to have people on board selected with the criteria of your interest. And about 90% of people volunteer to be recontacted when they are giving their biobank consent. And these individuals can be chosen for certain study, for example, by any diagnosis or age or treatment they have gone through, or you name it. And we can use our hospital's online portal called Omataus to contact these patients, and also to collect research material. For example, if the research includes questionnaires. And some of you might have heard of our service package designed together with HeatLab, and which enables patient selection through Biobank, and then utilizing the HeatLab's facilities and expertise in conducting the research. But Milla will tell you a couple of words about this as well in her presentation. And in the next slide, there's something you might be interested of. So how and where to start your biobank research. And there's a simple answer to this, and it's called FinGenius. So in FinGenius.fi, you can instantly screen the sample numbers in the Finnish public biobanks. So not only in the Finnish Clinical Biobank Tampere, but all the Finnish public biobanks. And there are 7 of those currently. And by using the FinGenius catalog, you can screen the sample numbers with the criteria of your interest. And then you can submit a feasibility request for more precise investigation of the sample and data availability in different biobanks. And all this is usually free of charge, and only the most complicated feasibility requests might cost something, but we always agree of this beforehand, so there will be no surprise costs. So go for it and submit your feasibility request. And finally, if the material you need seems to be in our biobank, you can apply for an access to this material through the same portal in the access request stage. And it usually takes about a month or two for the application to go through the permission process. And then we are ready to make a material transfer agreement and to start the research. So to start, all you need to do is to register at fingenius.fi. But if you have any questions, you can always contact me, and I am happy to help you. And let's discuss more in the Prela platform. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Enni. And then our next speaker is Milla Juutinen from Tampere University. And Milla's topic is heat, meaning health and assistive technology. So, Milla, please.
Thank you. And hello to everyone. So my name is Milla Juutinen, and I'm a university instructor at Tampere University, and more specifically in the Faculty of Medicine and Health Technology. And you can also scroll through this slide so that we can see everything. Thanks. So I'm representing HEAT, which is Health and Assistive Technology Lab, and we are a networking facility and testbed for all health technology professionals. And we provide expert research services for health technology products. So next slide, please. So we are operating at the university. So of course, our aim is to study and develop new methods and devices for health and wellness domain. So for example, we can have these two kinds of tracks. So if you have a device that is kind of already ready for market, but you want to prove that it's really ready and does what you promised that it does, we can help you to study the feasibility and performance of the almost ready product. On the other hand, as a university, we might take a step back and then try to think of the future innovations that could possibly change the world. So we can provide objective research and state of art about the new methods that may come in the future years. And next slide, please. And also you can scroll these down. So as I mentioned, we are inside the Tampere University. So we have a very close collaboration with Tampere University Hospital as well. So we can do co-creation with all the research groups in the university and in the faculty. We provide objective research, so we can, for example, test different devices or methods or compare them with each other or with some reference devices. And of course, when we work with companies, we can easily work confidentially. And there's actually one more bullet in this slide. So of course, we provide development and testing services for all kinds of physiological measurements or then testing devices that could be used either in the medical or wellness world. And next slide, please. So in this, I just wanted to bring you 3 different points of contact. So of course, we have plenty of research groups, but here are 3 examples from the Hervanta campus. So we have 3 professors that you could already directly contact if you're interested in specific topics, or you could always contact me as a representative for Heat Lab, and then I can also forward you to the correct point of contact. And as you can see, we have all different expertise from artificial intelligence to embedded systems, and then of course physiological measurements and how to analyze those signals. And next slide, please. So if we think of the traditional clinical or non-clinical research, we have all these different steps, and there's actually one more in this slide as well. Thanks. So if we think of this as a whole, this is kind of our day-to-day activities, so that in order that we can make measurements, collect data, and then process and analyze it, we of course need to make research plans, data management plans, ethical applications, and study notifications with Fimea, in order that we can then start collecting and analyzing data. And then at the end, we of course report and publish our results. So as an academic partner, this is our day-to-day activity. So that's also our very special expertise, that we can help companies or startups or other organizations to provide these activities, so that the products can then finally enter the market and then be at the use for patients or citizens. And next slide, please. So as Enni just mentioned about the Finnish Clinical Biobank Tampere and our heat lab collaboration. So as Enni mentioned, Biobank has access to very large clinical datasets, and they have this recall study possibility. So with those, we can access a very large group of patients. We can especially pick which are the best cases for a certain study. So if we need to pick out some diseases or genes or whatever might be the reason, we can do that. And then combined with heat lab, we have the clinical and non-clinical research experience, and we know how to work with large data sets and how to get all the protocols so that they are right, and do the full scientific research protocol. So that's our expertise. And then when we combine these two, we have a very comprehensive research setting for all kinds of clinical studies. And what is unique is that we can do this study group management, for example, with the recall studies. So we already have volunteers that we can contact. Thanks. And next slide, please. So as I kind of said already, you can always contact me. I have my contacts here, and I will be also in the BRELLA platform to discuss with you, or you can contact any of our research professors and study groups and start to discuss with them as well. And I didn't mention in the beginning, but we are located mainly in the Hervanta campus in Tampere, and we have also a possibility to work in Kauppi campus if needed. And of course, many of our devices are usually portable, so we can bring them anywhere that we need to. But I thank you for your interest and hope to see you all in BRELLA to connect more.
Thank you, Milla. Okay, now we are in the questions part. So next, Nora will raise the questions that we have received. Nora, please.
Yes, hello everyone. And there has been quite silent on the chat, so you have you have still time to put your question also to the chat box. But we have some questions we received while signing up to this event, and I would like to ask this for all the testbed offers, that how do the programs you run at your testbed provide direct revenue or meaningful business benefits to technology providers? So what are the benefits you can highlight? And maybe we could start from Tarja, and then Enni, and then Milla can share their thoughts. And Tarja, put the microphone on.
That's good advice. Thank you. You can hear me now.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe I already told my presentation that I think the most important benefits for companies and also to the service providers is to get the valuable feedback from the users, so we can organize this kind of testing and piloting process, whether maybe in our lab, or of course we can organize this kind of testing process also in real life setting, real end users. And the benefits is of course to get this kind of feedback from the users and from the markets also. What is the business model when you want to run your business in social and healthcare sector, because you should take account certain things when you want to run business there. So as I said, it is more like to get the references also from this kind of piloting, and it helps of course companies to run their business in here in Finland, but also when they have plans to go abroad. So I think this is one important thing.
Yes, good. Then Enni, what about Biobank benefits?
Yes, yeah, so as I mentioned, we basically support research. So if you aim to do research, our idea is that we have the material of your needs already collected at our biobank, so you don't need to start a time and money consuming collection phase, but you can just submit the application to Biobank, and we'll see if we have the material already collected, or if not, then we can help in like making it possible. If we have not those samples yet, we can start to collect them for your needs.
Good. And then Milla.
Yes, so maybe in addition to Tarja's and Enni's answers, I think Heat Lab is then the one to study all the regulations and the performance of the devices or method. So as you know, like both health tech and wellness is increasingly being regulated. So not only the medical devices are regulated, but wellness devices are also getting more and more regulated. So it's important that when you bring a new device or method to the market, it should do what you promise that it does, and it should be scientifically accurate so that the users can really use them as their benefit for improving healthcare. And especially if we go towards these Kanta personal recording systems, then we need to have more devices that are acceptable for the clinical use as well.
Yeah, thanks. And then another question that we got to the chat is that does the Tampere University work directly with the health and medical startups, or do we need to work with the CROs? So I would say, is it the contract research organizations as a middleman? And maybe Enni, could you start?
Let me think about the question again.
So do you work directly with the health and medical startups?
Yeah. Yes, directly. Yeah.
Okay. And what about Milla?
Yes, I would say that we also work directly with companies. So you can always contact us in the beginning, and then we can figure out what are all the parties that we might need in the process.
Good. And then Tarja.
Maybe that was that question was more like Milla and Andy, but I think we have also this kind of directly connection, so more like that.
Yeah, okay. And then I think in Annie's presentation there was something about the time slots, but a question that when can I start testing once I've contacted you? So how fast the process would be? And Tarja, you can now start.
Okay, it depends, of course. I have to say that we have different kind of ways to organize the collaboration. I mean, maybe we have also some R&D projects going on where we can think about this kind of collaboration right away. So, for example, we have some EU projects where we can organize this kind of testing activities with companies when we use so-called de minimis support to companies, and this kind of de minimis tuettu toimenpide for the companies. But of course, it requires that we have, together with company, we should first do some kind of plan, what they want to test, what are the aims for the testing, and also we organize these real life settings, maybe authentic environment, participate also this testing, and we should find all this, we should find the users and the persons who participate the testing process. So it depends, but the idea that we will do this kind of testing and develop planning together with the company, maybe this service provider, authentic environment, and our university and our lab will be one part of this joint plan where we make this what will happen and what will be the timetable as well. And when I mention we can run this kind of collaboration, somehow integrate our projects, but of course there is also possibility that company could buy this kind of testing service. So maybe it is a little quickly way to proceed if there is something very certain things to test. So it depends, and I think we should discuss this kind of possibilities case by case.
Yes, of course. But there was actually in the chat a question more related to this time. So maybe if we given an example, can you estimate that how long would it take to set up a test setting to test a wearable sensor in a care home setting or a similar environment? So what would be the time scale in this kind of example?
Is it for me also?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, I want to say it depends, but maybe couple of weeks, 2 weeks. It depends how much you need these users, for example, and what is the possibility in that nursing home. Of course, it depends what the CEO, for example, that nursing home said. Now, during this COVID time, it's sometimes a little complicated, but as a matter of fact, we started just in the beginning of this year, one new project, HIPAA Remote, which especially focus also how we develop this kind of testing services remotely and hybrid way. When you are not permission, for example, COVID time to go in nursing homes, we can also do already something remotely. So maybe I said a couple of weeks, I hope that is some estimate. But as I said, maybe it's better to discuss more about this case. What is the use case and trial case?
Of course. Then what about Milla? What is your view on the how fast can this testing start after first contact?
Yeah, well, I would say that if someone requests to contact us, we promise that we will have a discussion with the client within the first 2 weeks after the initial contact. And then, of course, it depends on the project. So if we need to involve the clinical documentation, it's the documentation that takes more time than making the actual test setup. So of course, like doing ethics committee documentation for patients takes months, but then making a small test without any ethical applications needed can be done very quickly. So in that case, I would say that it's a matter of weeks rather than months.
Good. There was a comment on the chat that very efficient actions, good to know. And then what about Enni?
Yeah, I already showed something about our timelines in my presentation, but I can open a little bit more those. So it depends on how well defined your study already is, because the most time-consuming phase is that we try to understand your needs. But if you have already defined those, it's very fast to start. So the first step would be the feasibility request, and we can answer those in a week or two, most commonly. And after that it is your turn to finalize your needs, make your study protocol, and then submit the actual application. Then you also need some more documents which have been listed in FinGenius, for example, a CV and what other documents? Data processing impact assessment, record of data processing, and yes, that's it. And then we see the application through, and our scientific steering committee evaluates the application, and this group meets once a month. So it takes about a month or two to take the application for the scientific steering committee's evaluation. But yeah, I guess the month or 2 months would be like quite good estimation.
Okay. And how do you handle customer data and product confidentially? And maybe can you, Enni, continue?
Yeah, so we operate as a solid part of the hospital. So the hospital's privacy rules applies also to us. So as you can imagine, they are quite strict.
Definitely, and should. Good. Then what about Milla?
Yeah, so also the university is having close collaboration with the hospital, and of course we have like secure storage spaces with restricted access, so we can give access to only those people who are working in the project. And it is also very common to use NDA agreements, so we can always use them whenever they are needed and in that scope that they're needed. So it's good to contact us and discuss about it openly.
Yes, and then let's move to Tarja's answer.
Yes, also I think this privacy and ethical rules we should take account from our side, especially if we have this kind of medical devices. Of course, maybe we have, because we have all this social sector, we have quite a lot of this kind of wellness and well-being technology devices, but especially when we have these medical devices.
Yes. And then let's move to the pricing. Nobody has said anything about euros yet. So what is your pricing structure? And maybe Milla could start this time.
Yes, thanks. Basically, there are twofold. So as I said, like if you want to do very small tests, kind of get to know how things work or stuff like that, we have like a half day or full day based pricing. So we can calculate the hours and the time you need and put a price on that. But then if we do bigger projects and aim for like research, then of course we need to do a separate budget for that. And of course the price then depends on the amount of staff we use and their level. So of course you can understand that there's a different price point, for example, doing master's thesis, or if we really do like this commercial research facilities. So we have senior researchers doing things for a long time, so the budget is completely different. But I could say, like as a summary, we can work with very different budgets. So it's not only that bigger companies would be able to use our services. So we of course want to work with startups as well.
Good. And then Enni, can you tell us more about the pricing?
Yes, basically we don't have any price for per one sample, but we have the cost depends on the hours we use, and every project is unique. And basically the cost comprises of the project coordination hours used, sample handling hours, material costs, and then the data collection hours, and if there are logistics costs, etc. And total cost is negotiated case by case.
Okay. And then I think we still need to hear Tarja's response as well. Yeah.
Thank you. And maybe somehow I answered already about that, but I think we are on the same page with Enni and Milla about, of course, it depends how much our experts use work hours for that testing. So it depends in that when you are interested to buy something. But as I said, we have also possibility to make organize this kind of testing collaboration in our projects, which we have now. And this kind of project has been funded by European Fund, for example, European Regional Fund, EAKR projects. So there is, I mentioned this de minimis support for the company. So we have somehow described what are the activities, testing activities, and there is certain de minimis among which will come to the company when we do some certain activities during this test and product development projects, for example. So again, we should discuss case by case.
Yes. Then one question about the ethics committee. So does the testing with you require opinions by the ethics committee? And maybe Tarja, you can, once again, you were the last in the previous question, so you can now continue.
Yes. If there will be research and review research and medical devices testing, that there should be this ethical activities as well. But it depends also what are we going to do. So I think this is good question to Enni and Milla. So maybe I ask you to answer. From our side, it depends what are we going to testing and piloting with the company. If there is, for example, elderly people, and we will have this kind of research projects going on, then we need that. But if you need something very quickly, maybe this kind of feedback where we also only collect very opinions, for example, certain very narrow thing, then maybe you can handle only if you have permission from the users who are the test person in that piloting.
Yes, thank you. And then Milla.
Yes, so basically the same answer. So if we use any volunteers or patients, then yes, we need to have the ethical committee approval and application, and of course, depending on whether the subjects are healthy or not healthy. So healthy volunteers usually have a bit lighter procedure, and then clinical studies have this heavier procedure. If we do smaller tests without involving human subjects, then no. But then of course you need to make sure that the device is already safe to use. So of course, if you haven't proven that the device is safe to use and doesn't cause any harm for the tester, then that needs to be taken into account.
Yeah. And then Enni.
Yes. As for the Finnish Clinical Biobank Tampere and the research using samples and data, like basic biobank research, that doesn't require ethical approval, as the biobank research itself has been ethically approved. But if we need to contact patients, meaning those recall studies, for example, then we need an ethical approval.
Yeah. Thank you for your questions and your answers. Also on the chat, there was several comments from Mikael commenting on that the business model of the testbed seems to be a bit skewed, and that for a startup, it is much better to get the feedback from the medical professionals and involved practitioners as an advisors to the company. But this is definitely a good opportunity to discuss more these views and comments on the BRELLA. And I would like to once again remind you of the possibility to meet our experts and other participants on the BRELLA after we have closed the presentations here. And thanks for the questions and for the speakers, and let's move on to the closing words.
Thank you, Nora. And thank you. There were a lot of questions, so this was really good. So we still have the closing words of this webinar before starting the networking BRELLA. And I will now pass on the floor to Van Lee. So please, Van.
I cannot open the video. Yes.
Can you get it open now?
Nope. But anyways, my face is already on the screen, so I can just say a couple closing words. Thank you so much, everyone, for spending time to be with us today. And we really appreciate that you have been interested in our webinar and asking a lot of questions as well as comments. Please feel free to reach out again to any of us to have more further discussion. And after this webinar, there will be still about 30 minutes for networking, and hope that you all will use this opportunity to meet and get to know more people in this community. Our webinar series will continue in February with the other two topics, traffic automations, and March with the industry test beds. And if you have any suggestion for further future webinar, please feel free to let me know. And for the use of Umbrella, it is pretty simple. You can go to, with the same platform that you are watching this screen, go to people, and please remember to put your available for request so that people can book meeting with you, and then you can start chatting. Last but not least, please help us give your opinions and feedback via an NPS feedback link, which will take less than 1 minute to finish the form. And later, Nora and others will send a follow-up email to all of you who participate today for that feedback. Thank you so much, and especially thank you all speakers to be with us, and have a great day to all.